Welcome to Comically Exposed. It's our first episode. My name is Gabbie, and my co-host is
Heather and I.
Woohoo! And we met during some UCB classes that we took over the pandemic. And we are both comedy writers who are looking to crack into the business and trying to figure out just how do we get our work out there at this point? Because well, there's a writer's strike, but that has less to do with what's happening here. I would say what more is happening is that both Heather and I are fortunate to be OCD buddies.
Yep, we both have OCD, share that in common. Something that I'm sure all our comedy friends are sick of hearing us talk about. Because everything is related to OCD apparently in our lives.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's the current lens I'm using to see the world and myself, and it's the lens that's currently making the most sense, allowing me to figure out the most, learn the most. But if you are unfamiliar with OCD, in Hollywood, I would say OCD is portrayed as this contamination issue. You have, germaphobes and people washing their hands all the time. And that is definitely contamination. OCD definitely exists. It's just not one of the flavors that I have. Do you have it, Heather?
No. Oh, well. There is a variety that there's a little bit of contamination issues, but mostly mine's not about contamination.
Yeah. So I think of OCD as this like many tentacled monster, right? That just has all these different arms that serve to kind of fuck you up in various ways throughout your life, right? So for some people with contamination issues, the pandemic was huge, right? It was like their worst fears come to life. In OCD, there is a fear. There are thoughts and feelings you have about that fear. That's the OCD voice telling you to do X, Y, and Z. Those are the compulsions that if you give into doing those compulsions, it just makes the OCD worse until your life is very, very small and it's hard to function. And I feel like I'm talking a lot. So if you have any thoughts, Heather?
Yeah, I mean, if you kind of like look at it from an overarching kind of perspective of OCD, the general thing is it can be about control. And so outside of that, I mean, the descriptor, I guess, is intrusive thought, which everybody has. Is that horrible thought, feeling, sensation, visual, whatever. But the thing that makes it OCD is the compulsion element to it. And the compulsions are there for the relief, right? Because that's the cycle of OCD. It's like you just kind of do something, you don't realize you're doing it. I call it kind of like it's like I zoned out.
Mm-hmm. You let OCD take the wheel for a minute.
Yeah, OCD take the wheel for a minute. And I kind of zone out. And then I realize about 3 or 4 hours later that I've been doing the same thing over and over again. So, and luckily it doesn't happen that often as much anymore. But aside from talking about OCD the entire time, oh my God. Oh, yeah. This is not a podcast about OCD. It's about us. It's about OCD because it is about us.
But I would say we both share the intrusive thought OCD. And I would say my main compulsion is avoidance. And so I have a lot of what I think are very brilliant comedic ideas of like projects and things that I want to do, but then I will come up with a bajillion reasons why it won't work, or perfectionism will come into play, and I will have created so many steps that completing the project is just impossible. So this podcast is for Heather and I, because we both have lists of not only projects and goals that we want to complete on our own, but we also have a list of stuff that we want to complete together and with some other comedy people.
They're people.
I don't know. Professionals trying to be professional. I don't know.
Professionals can be people.
Yes. Yes. My mind went to sex work because, of course, it did, because intrusive thoughts. Anyway, and also, I'm sure my brain was scrambling for a joke. Okay, so I think the general structure of these episodes, you and I have talked about it, is we'll have like a check-in at the beginning of the episode, just like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, what's up?
Yep.
Then you and I are each going to discuss what happened with the project that we said we were going to work on for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And then we're going to talk about what's our next goal or next project we want to complete in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So
that's the gist. I mean, it's going to be us like exposing ourselves to actually have the world see our stuff and do the stuff that we're going to do. And hopefully it'll be entertaining, or just, we'll just get stuff done. I mean, that's just what it is. And I think that that's how it should go.
100% agree. Yeah, because that's the other part of OCD that we didn't talk about, which is exposure and response prevention.
Yes.
Kind of muddled that. But so you thank you. You expose yourself to the thing that you fear, and then it becomes something that you're not as fearful of anymore. And it allows you to move forward in life, I think. So
yeah. My therapist recently told me that it's what he calls, it's a wrestling term apparently, or a weightlifting term, but it's called time under tension.
Oh, mm-hmm.
So just doing it over and over again, I mean, just doing the action makes you stronger. And so that's kind of what the exposures that we're doing right now is just doing the action of doing, just the action of doing, not to say doing too many times because now it's in my head. But just doing the action will build the strength to continue. And so that's how we make those bold moves, how we can make those bold choices to continue forward, whether or not other people find it funny.
That's right. And in fact, another exposure is to say out loud, nobody is going to find this stuff funny. They are going to think that we are terrible people, highly offensive, the opposite of funny. I don't know what that is. Nazis.
Not funny.
Oh, yeah.
Or Nazis. I know your mind goes there because,
it does.
Yeah.
Jewish. You can say it.
Yeah. No, I know I can say it.
Okay, enough with the OCD, which I brought back up again. That's on me. I say let's talk about our goals because we both have lists in front of us.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to start.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, great.
and nobody can see this right now, but Gabbie is like actively crying.
I'm sobbing. It's very tough for me. I like to have an authority figure here. And Heather and I have decided to be all like egalitarian.
No, I know. Seriously.
Okay. Anyway, tears aside, man up. Okay. So I have 6 goals. The first one is I want to apply to Mortified. That is a show that happens in various towns like on the West Coast, and also New York, I think, has Mortified shows. People go there, they read from their teenage diaries or other like really embarrassing stuff. I've always wanted to be a part of it. I wrote like a stand-up set when I was 14. I would like to perform it. I'm sure it's ridiculous because I had no life experience at that time. So that's ridiculous. The second thing I want to try is stand-up. Have wanted to do that since I was a small kid, be a stand-up. So I don't know, maybe 187 in which years I should give it a shot. The third thing is I have written 2 spec scripts for already existing shows, What We Do in the Shadows and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And I would love to get a bunch of our friends together to do a Zoom table read and maybe put it out into the ether. So it can be ignored en masse. Then there is another podcast that I've had an idea for probably a decade. And it's going to be called Batshit Roommate. It's just people coming in. We talk about like living with batshit roommates, usually in your 20s or late teens. And when you yourself or myself have been the batshit roommate, we all have. So it's, it's a uniting podcast. It brings folks together.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's two other things that I haven't thought about as much, which is one, I would like to start a YouTube channel and or do reels on Instagram of characters that I just come up with and do in front of a green screen. I also have this idea of something called high astronomy, where people get stoned or drunk or otherwise inebriated, and I can finally put my stupid astrophysics degree to use, and they ask me like, hey man, how big is the universe? And then I get to, talk about it. The last thing, and I swear I will let Heather talk again at some point, is I want to organize a live event in the Bay Area where people, not necessarily comics, come together and we share our Kaiser Permanente health insurance horror stories, because I was out to dinner with a friend of mine and we were trading back and forth on some pretty horrendous medical stories that our insurance had put us through, and laughing hysterically through this trauma. And our waiter came over, asked what we were talking about, and then said, oh, do you want to hear a Kaiser Permanente horror story? Because I have one as well. So I think this would also be a great night of, community, but also processing trauma through the lens of laughing. So those are my things.
That's a lot of things. Seriously, Gabbie. I mean, you're doing it.
I've made a list. I've certainly made a list.
You made a list. You did the first step of starting to do it. So I did want to mention that we have combined goals as well. One is this podcast, Comically Exposed, which I don't know if we actually said in the beginning. But, it's cool. I said it now. It's like, after 10 minutes in. So, whatever. And Sketchfest, San Francisco Sketchfest, we're applying with our also partner in crime, Susan. And we are called Not Sisters. So happening, and I'm excited about it because I really wanted to be able to do something as a live performance. Although I am not acting in it.
So she says now.
I know. So I say now. I am, I guess, director, writer. I mean, everybody's a writer in the group. But I'm the person behind the scenes kind of throwing stuff together. And
you're the authority figure. I know you've shied away from it in this podcast, but we're forcing you to be the authority figure.
I guess I am the authority figure. That is my role.
I'm just letting you know now. But
okay,
no,
okay.
I agree. These are our combined goals, and I'm just excited to meet everybody in person because we've been working online for a few years now.
Yeah, we just see, we're just floating heads, on screens right now, and that's who I talk to mostly, is all floating heads. So I guess I'll talk about my goals. Yes. And my list is not as extensive, but feels just as long, at least in my brain it does. So I did also want to start a podcast, and I'm tentatively calling it Working on Stuff, where it's an interview style podcast where I interview people from different levels of experience in terms of how they started, what they're working on, and just some self-promotion, not myself, but their selves, and then maybe my self-promotion. And then I just finished an audio storytelling series class with Keely Stemalake at UCB, which was fantastic, by the way. So if anybody listening wants to take a class, it's called For Your Ears Only Writing Audio Comedy Series. It doesn't have to be a comedy series. I'm working on that. Excited about it because what I wrote actually kind of excited me, and I have some things that I want to add to it to potentially make it into a series. And then my next one is creating a terrible animation of my sketches, because I have so many sketches that I've written
that are so funny, dude, that deserve to see the light of day.
Hopefully I can do them a service. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, that's just what it is. Thank you, Gabbie. That just embarrassed me, obviously, because I'm trying to find words and they're not coming out of my face. So
I'm sorry.
That's just...
I'm sorry. I just want people to know, because they don't know already, that you are a brilliant, funny writer. And I'm so excited for this quote unquote bad animation so that people can see it.
And it's bad because I don't know what I'm doing to create the animation, but I have words that need to be spoken. So I don't know what I'm calling it just yet, but right now in my brain, it's the terrible animation that I'm creating. So that's
perfect.
What it is. Yeah. Perfect. Done.
Done.
TM.
That's right. Get the lawyers involved.
Yep. And so what are we going to do next on our goals?
You also have a table read as well, right?
Oh.
Or are you not wanting to do that?
Well, I was going to do a table read for my audio series once I get it going.
I know, but I see. My bad. I thought you were doing a table read of your spec script also.
Oh, yeah, I guess I could. I guess I could have a fourth goal, that Gabbie just added on to my plate. Which
you should
already
see the chat is just me screaming obscenities to Heather.
Yeah, she's truly vile to me.
I'm not a good person.
What's beyond abuse?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Investment banker.
Yes, investment banker. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Cryptocurrency.
Yes.
Type.
Yes. NFTs.
That's right. That's the only thing I put in our chat is NFT every morning.
Which I was trying to figure out what that acronym was. So it's, I still don't know because I didn't look it up.
Well, I don't either, but I think it's important that I scream it at people.
They should know. They should know. They should know.
Okay, so you have, what is that, 5 goals now?
I think it's 4.
4 goals. Okay, I don't.
Are you trying to give me 5?
Yeah.
I need more to do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, seriously. I mean, the amount of work that Heather has already put into this podcast is truly awesome. I'm excited for how it turns out because you're a smart cookie and it's going to be, I'm going to stop complimenting you because I can see all the joy leaving from your face. So I'll just stop.
I'm accepting your compliments. I feel like I should be paying you more compliments because now I feel like a terrible person.
Good.
This is a great podcast about us feeling bad about ourselves constantly.
Woo-hoo. And that's what we hope to make our audience feel, right?
Yes.
Terrible about themselves, feel bad about us, pity, suffering.
Investment banking.
Which is the other name of this podcast. If you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes. And so, Gabbie, did you want to talk about...
Yes, what's happening this week?
Yes, what's happening this week, because it's exciting.
Well, by a real whirl of wind, I am traveling to see our friend Susan up in Calgary, Canada, and I'm sure she's going to appreciate that funny pronunciation. And we are going to do stand-up. She has already signed me up to do stand-up in 3 days. You might be asking yourself, hey, Gabbie, I know this is a lifelong dream. Do you have any stand-up written since you were 14? And the answer is kinda. I have some notes app stuff. We'll see what comes out. Are you terrified of bombing? Yeah, totally. But it's in Calgary. Who even fucking lives in Calgary? You know what I mean?
Other than Susan.
Oh, yeah. That's a dear friend who I do want to impress. But, no, in all seriousness, I'm thinking, I'll probably bomb and that'll be good.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Get the first bomb out of the way. So, Heather, what about you, my friend, this week?
I am, this week, putting together our video for Sketchfest. I know.
Wait, was that on your list?
Yeah, that was on my list.
Oh, that's on our like combined
list. You guys had to feed me information, and then I'm putting it together with programs I've never used before.
Honestly, Susan and I got the better end of that deal. We're like, here's some stuff we've done. Make it pretty.
Do some CGI shit, you know, like.
Yeah. Make it look good. Make it seem funny. Well.
And then change the audio levels, you know. Simple stuff.
Simple stuff.
Yes.
Boy. Well, I think those are two excellent goals. Do you have any like strategies that you're looking for this week? Any like OCD stuff that you feel is coming up? Any last minute things you want to impart?
Oh, I'm sure I'm going to have stuff afterwards because that's how it works for me. Because I don't realize it's happening and then it's happening. So that should be good. I am trying to, I don't know, just I have no words. I don't feel like I can. So yeah, I have no words.
I honestly feel the same. I feel like that's a good way to end this first episode, which is we have said all the words.
Yes. And also we should say that we're trying to keep this under 30 minutes.
Yes.
Because time is precious. And I usually listen to podcasts at double speed anyway. So, yeah. Yeah,
so let's, keep it trim and moving. I don't know.
Yep.
If that's a thing. So thank you everybody for joining us for our first episode of Comically Exposed. I have been Gabbie.
And I have been Heather.
And we'll probably still be those people in a couple of weeks when we catch you up on episode 2.
Sounds good. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Welcome to the end of the show. This is Gabbie Blachman.
And this is Heather Nye.
Thank you for listening to Comically Exposed. We're just a little show with two creators who edit and produce each episode. We appreciate all your support.
If you liked what you heard, please follow us on Instagram at comicallyexp.podcast. That's comicallyexp.podcast.
Or subscribe to us on Spotify. New episodes drop every other Wednesday.
Also, special thanks to Track Club and Golden Finch for providing the music.
Thanks for listening, and hey, everybody, today is a great day to expose yourself. Okay, until next time, ta-ta for ta-da!
Bye!
Bye!
Me!